Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes. This is our last chapter this semester. Next week, we will use our time for revision. Chapter 9 is a brief topic, and some of it we already covered in a previous topic. This is a continuous topic from previous week. Right, we look at our objective today. Various category type of control available. Number 2, we will look at what are the suitable control available to address type of risk encountered by the organization. Followed by, we will look at type of implementation plan and implementation follow-up. If I'm too fast or anything else, please inform me in the chat box. If my internet connection stop, you might, because when I present screen, I'm presenting full screen. If I want to check your chat, I need to exit the full screen. So please inform me. If let's say I'm disconnected, you may inform me through WhatsApp as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I can present one window for the PowerPoint, and then the other window for the chat. But I don't like the display of both window at the same time, so I make it full screen here. So we look at this diagram. This is not new. We learned this in the previous chapter. So here, this one talking about, they are focusing on the internal detail relating to risk assessment process. Risk assessment, this topic we touched on a previous chapter. I hope you also have a little bit, I still remember a little bit on what is that risk assessment. So that is important to emphasize on IT security management that required by organizations' overall management plan. This IT security risk assessment process shall be incorporated into the organization asset as well business processes. So IT management is not something that they do it once. Yeah, IT management, IT security management is not something like you do it once, that's it done. No, this is a repeated process in order to keep track, not say keep track, in order to cope with the changes. Yeah, changes in IT technology and also the risk environment. So this process, this is what we call cyclic process that must be repeated constantly. All these action, plan, do, and also check. After that, we look at the next one. Okay, plan, do, check, and also last one is action. This one we covered last week. This also we touched on last week a little bit on risk assessment on this. So previous week we cover up to step 2, half of the step 2. Yeah. So this chapter today we will focusing on the later stages, which is including the select controls, developing implementation plan, follow up, monitoring. So these are the second part that we will cover today. What is a security control here? You can look at the definition. Control is defined as an action, device, procedures, or other measure that reduces risk by eliminating or preventing a security violations, by minimizing the harm can cause, or by discovering the reporting and reporting it to enable corrective action. That will be the implementation part. So a risk assessment on an organization IT system might identify which area need to be treated. So the next step, there's a, and as shown in the previous diagram just now, a suitable control need to be selected to overcome type of the risk encountered by the organization. So as an IT security control to safeguard the overall organizations are based on the overall organization policies and objective. Okay. So next one, we look at control classes. Okay, grants to the slide here. So some controls might addresses multiple risks at the same time. Mean they can solve few risks at the same time. And selecting such control can be cost effective since use it to overcome different risks at the same time. Of course, the cost spend also higher. So control can be classified to one of the following as listed in the screen. First of all, management control. Management control will focus on security policies, planning, guidelines, and standards that might influence the selections of operational and technical control to reduce the risk of loss. Okay, to reduce the risk of loss and to protect the organization mission. So this control refer to issues that management need to address. Okay, specifically pointing on those issues that management has to address. Second, operational control. So this part, they are addresses on the correct implementation and the use of security policies and standards to ensuring consistency in security operations and correcting are identified in this. So this control related to mechanism and procedures that are primarily implemented by people rather than the system. They used to improve the security of the system or the group of a system. The other part is a technical control. Here involve the correct use of hardware and software security capability in the system. And the range covered from simple to complex measures. All these are working together to secure their organization sensitive data information as well the IT system functions. Next one, we look at the technical control here. So this is a technical security controls. And this diagram shows some typical technical control measurements. So you look at the diagram here, the one on the right hand side, you will see this one. I cannot have a pointer when use present. Never mind, you look at the right hand side. Yeah, the diagram right hand side, you can see prevent, detect, recover, and also supports. So supporting control here talking about underlying technical IT security capability that are interrelated to many other resources in organizations. Second, preventive. Yeah, preventive control will focus on preventing security breaches from occurring again and again. Third one, detective. Yeah, detections and recovery control will focus on the response to the security breach. There's three things that need to be considered in technical controls. Next one, we look at this table. Here listed a group of control that provided in the nationals and international standards. So they split to different classes. management, operational, and also technical. Okay, go through the slide. So this standard referring to types of control that should be used, and also the detailed list, yeah, detailed list of typical controls. After that, there's a detailed explanation in the next slide. Yeah, here showing the objective of each important control. So to attain the acceptable level of security, some combinations of this control also be selected. Means more than one categories of control might also be selected. If the baseline approach is being used, then appropriate baseline set of the control will be specified in relevant to the industry or government standards. A selective control here should be made which is appropriate to organization's overall risk profile based on organization resources and also capabilities. So this kind of a control need to be implemented across all the IT system for the organization. Of course, need to also adjustment. Yeah, adjustment need to be done based on specific system. Mean one goal cannot fit all. Different systems, some little bit adjustment need to be done. Next one, we look at residual risks. So this diagram indicate the recommended list of control that should be made to address each risk that needed to be treated. So the recommended control needs to be compatible with organization system and policies, and their selection might also be guided by legal requirements. So the resulting list, sorry, the resulting list of control should include the details of feasibility and also effectiveness of each control. The feasibility addresses factors here might include based on a technical compatibility and also the operational impact on the existing system, as well how's the acceptance level by the users. So the second, the reduction in level of risk that result from implementing a new or enhanced control result by the reduction in treated the most likelihood consequences in control. All right, and then the reduction in likelihood might result either by reducing the vulnerability or the weaknesses in the system, or by the reducing the capabilities of the threat source. So the reduction in consequence occur by reducing the magnitude of the impact of the threat occurring in the organizations. Means they want to reduce the degree of impact towards organizations. So the level of residual risk accepted by authorized officials for information system are commonly controlled within the organization risk tolerance, not for individual risk tolerance, but based on organization risk tolerance. Cost benefit analysis. Okay, glance through the slide. The organization will not have resources to implement. Not all the organization has the resources to implement all types of recommended controls, right? Based on the budget, based on the resources they have. Therefore, the management should conduct a cost benefit analysis to identify which control are the most appropriate to their organization, and also which control can provide the greatest benefits to the organizations based on the resources available by that organization. So this analysis could be in terms of quantitative, can be in terms of qualitative, and must demonstrate the cost of implementing by the given control, justifying the level of risk, justifying the assets that it will be provided. It should be also include the details of the impact. Yeah, the details of the impact by implementing uh, the new control or the impact of implementing by applying the new control or enhanced control. There's only two, whether you are implementing the truly new control or you want to enhance existing. All right. So it also need to be assessed. What is the cost? Implementation cost. After that, what's the benefits? Okay, what's the benefit by applying new control or enhanced control against the system, data, information in the organizations? Yeah, all these analyses are important to determine whether the control use can be successfully overcome type of threat or not. So after that, management might need to determine which selections of control is acceptable based on the risk, yeah, based on the risk facing by organization system. The selection might based on different factors. Example, if let's say the control reducing the risk more than required, somehow less expensive, then this alternative can be used. If let's say the control costs more than the risk reduction provided, then they need to search for the alternative, other method. However, if let's say the control does not reduce the risk sufficiently, then they might need to consider either more control or change different control. If let's say the selected control provides sufficient risk reduction, somehow cost effective, then just use it. Yeah, it is often the case that the cost of implementing the control is more tangible, more can be identified, can be counted, more tangible, and easily specified that compared to the cost of not implementing the control. So management must make a business decision precisely, choose the final selection to control type of risk. Okay, next one, we look at IT security plan. So this plan should be created. Yeah? This is a document that provides details as what will be done, what resources are required, and who will responsible. The goal here is to detail the action needed to improve the identified deficiency in the organization's risk profile in timely manner. So this plan shall include, example, shall include type of risk. Yeah, type of risk towards the asset, type of risk like threat, vulnerability, or could be combinations. Also included recommended controls from the risk assessment that we learned last week. Also include action priority for each risk, selected control, resources required by implementing selected controls. Also included responsibles for each personnel. Yeah, they need to target the data when they want to start the implementation, when they want to end the implementations. As well, they also need to record maintenance requirements, and some other comment in the reports. So next one, we look at the implementation plan here, do. So these details are summarized in an implementation plan table, the one that you look at in the screen. So this table illustrates the examples of implementation, the plan for the example risk identified. Okay, you spend your time, look at both table a moment. So the suggested control are specific examples of remote access, user identification, system backup, and configuration change control. Okay, you look at the recommended control on the third column, third row. So all these are the recommended based on the risk assessment. So if let's say company resources allowed, then all of them will be chosen. Yeah, because they are, if let's say not so costly or maybe not too tough, not too difficult to implement, then all of them can be chosen. So if chosen all, it's actually not required any changes of the procedures. The relevant network administration staff also must be notified if there is any changes. Staff member need to be trained, required training on the correct implementations of the new procedures, as well their rights and their responsibility. Security plan implementation. So next phase in the IT security management process, the one that you look at in the screen is the implementation. Yeah, manage the implementations of the control detail in IT security plan. So this comprises in the cyclic process. These are in the do stage, DO, still under the do stage. The implementation phase might comprises not only the direct implementation of the control, but also associated specific training and general security awareness program for the organizations. They're not just talking about implement, then straight away implement. No, they need to work together with specific training and develop the awareness from the to all the staff in the organizations. So the IT security plan document that need to be done for each control, as well also listed down all the personnel responsibility, types of resources spent, and time frame to be used. Those are the key elements. So we look at the next slide here. The implementation process should be monitored. It should be monitored to ensure the correctness. This is typically performed by organizational security officer. Yeah, performed by the one that I highlighted. So the monitoring process, whether the implemented actions is whether through the correct path or not, need to be monitored always. So they might check on the implementation costs and also resources used within the identified bound. Identified bound here means they are not using more than what they planned. Yeah, not more cost and also not using more than the time as required. So the control are correctly implemented. Make sure the control are correctly implemented as in the plan. In order the identified risk reductions is achieved. Means what they plan, they are achieving. So the control are operated and administered as needed. So when the implementation is successfully completed, management need to authorize the system for operational use. Security training and awareness. So from here we can see this appropriate security awareness training need to be done for all personnel in an organizations, along with specific training related to particular system and also the control, which is an essential component in implementing the control. So here listed types of awareness, yeah, need to spend. Um, so you look at the first one, responsible personnel need training on the detailed design implementation, awareness of the procedures, also general awareness of, make sure everybody in an organization are involved, make sure they meet the objective. So have to inform them lack or poor practices might reducing the security. Aim to convince personnel that risk exists and breach may have significant consequences. So I mean we need to clearly deliver the message to them that what are the consequences, the seriousness when the risk exists and which is against the company policies and objective. Next one, after do will be check. Implementation, follow up, check. So the IT security, hang on, there are some text there. This part, let me, okay. The IT security management process does not end at the time that controlling or training the personnel, not yet. As mentioned, this is a cyclic process. So constantly repeated the response based on the response, the changes to IT system and also the risk environment. So various control implemented should be monitored to ensure the effectiveness is continued. Any proposed changes to the system shall be checked for security implementation, and the risk profile of the effective system need to be reviewed time to time. But unfortunately, this aspect of IT security management often, I mean, less attention on this. Failure to do so actually will enhance the security failure. So the follow-up stages here, you look at the screen here, follow-up stages from the aspect of maintenance of security control, security checking, change and configuration management, and also incident handling. Any of these aspects might indicate that changes are needed to the previous stages in the IT security management process. So if let's say the obvious example is that if there is a breach occur, such as virus infection or virus infections to a desktop system, then changes might needed from the risk assessment. After that, to the control chosen or to the details of implementation. So they are a cyclic process. So you need to go back to the risk assessment, come back again to the control, and then goes to implementation again. So it means that it will trigger a review from the previous stages in the whole process. Next one, we look at maintenance. Look at the screen here, needed continue. So the first aspect concern about the continued maintenance and monitoring of the implemented control is to ensure that everything are correct with the correct function. They are works properly and work in appropriateness. Everything working right. So it is important that someone has a responsibility for this maintenance process, which is generally coordinated by the organization's security officer. So the maintenance tasks include might need to ensure that the maintenance here means that the control need to be reviewed periodically, yeah, to make sure everything function as intended. The controls to ensure the control are upgraded when there is a new requirement. Also need to ensure changes to the system might not affect the controls. New threats or vulnerability have not become uh, how I say address new threat and or vulnerabilities. Yeah, if required changes, then it means that they need to go through the whole process again. Yeah, risk assessment, control, and then implementation. So this review includes regular analysis of the files. They have a what they call here is a log files to ensure all the system components are functioning as expected by the organization, and to determine the baselines of activity against which is a abnormal event, comparing when handling to the incidents. So the goals of maintenance here is just one, which is to ensure. Okay, you just need to remember the goal of maintenance here is to make sure the control continue to perform as intended. Failure in maintaining control can lead to the security breach with the potentially significant impact to the organizations. Security compliances. The security compliances checking is an audit process to review the organization security processes. So what is the goal here? To verify compliances with the everything compliance with the security plan. So the audit might be conducted using whether they are using internal personnel or external personnel based on the use of checklists to verify that to verify make sure it is suit to the company policies and based on the plan they have created. So the suitable control will chosen, the controls are maintained and also make sure used correctly. The audit process should be conducted on a new IT system and services once they are implemented and on the existing system periodically. So often as part of in a wider means only one part of it. So generally those kind of changes they need to be made based on organization security policy. So there's a guideline. Change and configuration management here. This is a process used to review proposed changes to system for implications on the organization system and use. So the changes to existing system can occur for a number of reasons. First of all, user reporting problem or desire enhancement. Second, when they identify new threats or vulnerability. When the vendor notify them there's a need a upgrades of a hardware or software. When implementations of a IT features, new IT feature or services, which require the changing of the existing system. So the impact of any proposed change on the organization system shall be evaluated. Not only included security related aspect, but also included company operational issues. So this change management is important component in the overall system process because the changes can affect security. The process are overlapping to IT security management, and also they have to work with interaction with all the overlapping. There is a need of interact all kinds of overlapping IT security management process. All right, so far so good.
Yeah.
Mm. So the change management process here can be formal, can be informal, depending on the size of the organizations and the overall IT management processes. So if let's say in a formal process, all kind of changes need to be documented and tested before implementations. So as part of the process, any related documentations, including relevant security documentations and procedures, everything need to be updated, documented, which is reflecting to the changes. So for configuration management, concern specifically to keep track configurations of each system used and the changes made. So this include, let's say, hardware and software version installed on each system. This information required is needed to help restore the system. Let's say there is a failure, and to know what patches or upgrade might required to the relevant particular system. Incident handling. Let's look at the screen here. Most incident related to the risk with rest. Sorry, let me repeat my sentence. Most incidents relate to the risk with lesser impact on the organization. Occasionally, there is a more serious incidents can be occur. So means that the incident can be it depends. Sometimes may cause less impact to the organization, but sometimes the incident could be very serious, where a serious type of incidents. So might reflects to the potential possibility consequences to the organizations, and the company might need to find out what is a suitable actions. So by developing a suitable procedures in advance, the organization can avoid panic. Just like you already prepare what will going to happen. If let's say the incident truly happened, then the organization will not feel shock. They will not panic. They already plan something bad happen, something bad happening. So they already will plan well. So they might not get shocked or panic on that. So considering, let's say, there's examples of a mass worm infections of an organization. So this might typically exploit unpatched vulnerability in a common desktop applications, and they will spread through other addresses, non other like infected system. So the volume of traffic can generate uh, high internet or intranet connection failure. So faced with such an impact, the impact will be very clear here. The response to the organization can be disconnect, yeah, from the connection through the internet, and perhaps might shut down internal system as well. So this decision could be have a serious impact to the organization process. It might again, they might have to think on the spread on of the infections. So if let's say they detect at the time that incident is detected, the personnel they need to uh, act fast. Yeah, they need to involve directly and then make the best critical decisions to continue their organization operations. So a good incident response policy here should indicate the actions to take, okay, the action to take for their, let me rephrase my sentence, yeah, let me rephrase, sorry, give me 1 minute. Right, sorry for interruption here. Let me get back to where I stopped now, just now talking about, yeah, let me repeat, yeah. Mm, so a good incident response policy towards, yeah, towards the vulnerability as mentioned, mass email worm, they need to consider how seriousness, yeah, how the seriousness of the actions. They might need to take responsibility. Okay, what are the steps that they need to do here? They should specify the personnel who have responsible to make decision concerning on significant actions. After that, quickly they need to make decisions. Yeah, the details on how they can overcome the incidents. Yeah, or else if no such specification done, then nobody will take the responsibility of overcome the incidents. Who are handling this? So they need to decide. Next one, types of security incidents. So action that threaten one or more of the classic security services here based on few terms here. Based on few terms, based on confidentiality, based on integrity, availability, what else? Authenticity, reliability, and accountability in the system. So this might include various forms of authorized access to the system and unauthorized modifications of informations on the system. So unauthorized access to the system by a person, including someone not authorized accessing the informations, or someone access information and passing it to another person who has no authorized roles in viewing the information, or maybe using another person password, another user's ID with their purposes. Okay. On unauthorized modifications of information on a system by the person, including they have attention to corrupt informations, which is could be value to another person, maybe attempting to modify informations or resources without authority, or process information in an unauthorized manner. So these are the type of security incidents. Next one, we look at managing security incidents. So we look at preparation, detection, analysis, recovering, post-incident activity. Okay. So managing security incidents here involve procedures and control which might addresses on detecting the potential security incidents. Second, identifying and responding to breaches in security. And the last one, documenting breaches in security for future references. So information learned as a result of a security incident should be used to improve procedure and use it as a reference in the future. However, on detecting issues, detecting incidents, so security incident may be detected by users or administration staff who report system malfunctions and who should be encouraged to make such reports. Security incident might also be detected by using automated tools, which analyze information gathered from the system and connecting network. Tools that can detect incident include system integrity verification tools, network and host intrusion detection system. We touched on this detection system in the previous chapter. Intrusion prevention system. So the effectiveness of such automated tools depends greatly on the accuracy of the configurations and the correctness of the pattern and signature used. So these need to be regularly updated so that can reflect to the new attacks and vulnerability. So the key advantage of automated system here are, if let's say regularly updated, it can be used to track changes non-attack and vulnerabilities. So deploying this kind of tools might involve resources, monetary, and also personal time. So these need to be justified by what are the benefit gain in terms of reducing, what are the benefit gain in reducing risk. Whether or not automated tools are used, the security administrator still need to prepare and also monitor the reports of the vulnerabilities. Responding to the incidents. So once a potential incident is detected, it need to be documented and respond to it. So this procedure need the details on how to identify and the cause of the security incidents. So it need describe what kind of action need to be taken to recover from incidents in a manner that to minimize the degree of harms to the organizations. So it's quite impossible to detail out every possible types of incidents. But however, the procedure should be able to identify a typical category of the incidents and the type of approaches need to be taken to respond with them. Okay. What else? Look at the list here. They should also identify the management personnel who are responsible in making critical decision where might affect the organization system. How to contact them, what time, and when the incident is occurring. So they need to identify who are the responsible personnel in charge of it. So the response might involve, what is it? Might involve, no, forgot about this. We look at the next point here. So the decision that done by the the personnel, the management personnel here, clearly affect the overall organization's operations. So they need to select the person carefully. The response procedure should also identify the circumstances when security breaches should be reported to the third party, such as police or relevant CRT organization. CRT stands for Community Emergency Response Team. Documenting incidents. Okay, look at the explanation here. Okay, look at the screen. Need to identify vulnerability. So following the immediate response to the incident, there is a need to identify what vulnerability lead to the lead to its occurrence and how it might be addressed to prevent will occur again in the future. So the details of the incidents and the response taken shall be recorded clearly for future reference. So the impact on the organization system and the risk profile must also be reconsidered as a result of the incidents. There would be possible that some incident could be rare occurrence, jarang berlaku. It's just that the organization may be just so unlucky who encounter this kind of incidents. Okay, so this could be involved. So when it happened, documentation it involve reviewing the throughout the whole process again, reviewing the risk assessment. Okay, the risk assessment of the relevant system by either changing or extending the analysis. I also involve reviewing control, which is identified for some of the risks. And could it be strengthening the existing control, or they would like to apply the new control again? So this is a very much reflected to the cyclic process. Yeah, we mentioned this one many times again. Cyclic process in IT security management. Go back to the risk assessment again. Next one, this is about the case study. Okay, I will just briefly share with you what this is about. Given the outcome of the risk assessment for this company, Silver Star Mines. So the next stage in the security management process is to identify the potential control. So there is a comment here repeated many times by the organizations, which is many of the system in use by them not regularly updated. And part of the reason for the identified risk was the potential for the system compromise using a known but unpatched vulnerability. So clearly suggests attention needed. Yeah, attention need to be given to control the related issues. Systematic maintenance of operating system and application software on the server and client system, that all need to be done. Some other control could be including they need to perform configuration management policies and procedures. They need to perform periodic maintenance, the malicious code protection, spam or spyware protection also included. So attention should also be given to developing a contingency plan to detect the response to such incident and to enable the speedy restorations of the whole system, a whole system function. So attention here, attention that need to be paid to the control, such as audit the monitoring and analysis and also the reporting, audit the reduction generations, the information system backup, information system recovery, and reconstitutions. Right? After that, let me look at the list again. When consider the specific risk item, the top priority risks relate to the reliability and integrity. Okay, reliability and integrity of the SCADA. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisitions. So this need to be identified. Yeah, they were identified as being at a risk because many of the systems are running older release operating system, which known as insecure or low in security. So this system cannot be upgraded because the key application they run have not been updated to work with the new operating system versions. So this is a limitations. Yeah, enhance giving a chance of vulnerabilities. So attention need to be paid on this. Could be from the firewall and the application proxy server need to be isolated, and also could be from the wider corporate network as well. So this case study uh, share with us type of a risk, type of a control need to be done. Next slide. This is an implementation plan. Okay, list out all the identified controls and the priorities in the implementations. Okay, priority 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the risks and what are the recommended controls? So this table must be extended to include the details. So this table lack of details of resources. So need to be extended, included as well the responsible personnel, the time frame, and also need to have another column which is for other comments. Yeah, this kind of implementation should ensure used to ensure the new policies continue to be applied appropriately. Yeah, need to be applied. Make sure everything working well, apply appropriately, and regular reviews by the company security profiles need to be done. So after this might lead to new cycles of risk assessment again, plan development, and then follow up again. So another process, another repeated process, another cyclic process will perform again. That's all from last chapter. Yeah, this is a brief chapter, but still after my sharing, all of you need to go through another 2 rounds. First time you read thoroughly, you read Kransu 1. Second, you read in details. Okay, the end of syllabus. So far, understand so far? So far so good because you all haven't spent your time to review yet.
Yeah, need to like read the second time again.
Yeah, second time and third time. I know this is not too easy, but if you say tough, also not that tough. It's just that you need student read and understand. Okay, there are some, this is theory. You have to go through 2 rounds at least. Satu kali memang tidak cukup. 2 to 3 rounds. A lot to fill in. Yeah, you need to study. Or else when the question come also, you don't know where to find. The answer was there and then you cari-cari tidak dapat because you haven't haven't studied yet. If no question, we take a short break. How long? But anyway, cannot do presentation. Noel is not here. Hang on, let me check. How about we make it tomorrow? One
On
hour.
tutorial class,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Should be
Tutorial
okay. Yeah.
class. Yeah. So and tutorial 1 hour. We will push it to next week.
Okay.
Mm. But anyway, now let's take a toilet break. Let's see how's everything goes on. Who knows later after 15 minutes, Noel can 15 minutes. So now is 1, 2, about 2, 7, 15 minutes later. Yeah,
Okay.
before 2:30, we will see how. If you come back from your toilet, then you might try the tutorial question. Yeah. Okay, see you after 15 minutes. Hi, Farah and Calvin. Seems Noel not joining us. So two of you, please use the time. We still have 30 minutes. Use the time to solve the tutorial 9.
Okay.
Hi, Pharaoh and Kelvin. Both of you here.
Yes.
We dismissed slightly earlier today. Later, 3 o'clock, I have another class. Let's take a short break before my next class.
Can miss.
Yeah, please continue your tutorial and also pass your question.
Okay.
Do you have class after this?
No, no class.
No more. All right, continue your work. Yeah,
Okay,
stay
miss.
safe, both of you. Any
Okay, miss.
question you may post to the WhatsApp group. Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
both of you. See you and take good care.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
Yeah.